They've just won UP and the next general election may be more than 2 years away, but the BJP is already setting its sights there. Speaking at the BJP's parliamentary party meeting today, the Prime Minister told his party colleagues to get his achievements out to the youth with the message that the work begins now.
The taste of victory is sweet and the BJP wants more of it. At this meeting of parliamentarians, Prime Minister Modi urged his colleagues to take his government's achievements to the youth. The party's next big target, 2019 Lok Sabha polls.
राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष अमित शाह ने कहा 14 के बाद सबसे बड़ा चुनाव, ये 17 इसे कई मीडिया ने और अखबारों ने कहा है, कई लोगों ने माना था, लेकिन सबसे बड़ा हमारा मुक्काम है, अगला मुक्काम है 19 का चुनाव और उसके लिए भी पूरा तैयारी रहे.
To keep the UP momentum going, party lawmakers have been asked to visit their constituencies and conduct a week-long program beginning April 14th, the birth anniversary of Babasaheb Ambedkar. This is part of BJP's Dalit outreach plan. Party leaders will popularize the Bhim app and educate the masses about digital modes of payment. On April 6th, the party's Foundation Day, ministers and MPs will visit district and wards to take part in Swachh Bharat campaign. Faced with an unstoppable BJP, opposition leaders like Yachuri are now arguing that left and democratic parties should unite to provide an alternative pro-people narrative.
BJP is only the political arm of the RSS. For that they require time. They require 2/3 of the majority to amend the constitution, and that is the danger. That is why you require the alternative narrative. That has to be strongly projected.
जब भी एक निर्वाचन खत्म होता है तो हम दूसरे निर्वाचन में पे ध्यान देते हैं कि पंजाब जहां पे हमारी जीत है उससे हम क्या सबक सीख सकते हैं ताकि वो सबक हम पूरे देश में वो उसको आगे हम उस पे काम करें.
Post the UP landslide, in his first interaction with BJP members of parliament, Prime Minister Modi's political message was clear. MPs need to hit the ground running to ensure that they come back to this house in 2019. From the Parliament House with camera colleague Suresh, this is Sandeep Phukan for NDTV.
Well, the question is, who is the person then to beat Narendra Modi in 2019, or persons? Is it possible for the opposition to come together in the next general election? Is that going to be really the only way to take on the might of Mr. Modi? Joining us here in the studio, senior Congress leader Mr. Manishankar Iyer, who's written a terrific piece on this today about the state of his own party as well as what the opposition should do. Shekhar Gupta is back in the studio with us. We have Mr. K.C. Tyagi of the JDU, Mr. Shagota Rai, Member of Parliament of the TMC, and Sudhanshu Trivedi of the BJP will be joining us shortly. But Mr. Iyer, let me come to your piece for NDTV.com first. And you began by saying that you believed that the BJP's win in Uttar Pradesh wasn't a vote for Narendra Modi, but that they won because the opposition's vote was badly fractured. Can you explain that? Because that sounds like a rather cynical way of looking at that win. It was so big.
I have absolutely no doubt that they won on seats. There's simply no doubt about that. It was also a completely constitutional victory. It was a legal victory. It was in accordance with our electoral practices. But when I look to the future, do I despair? Do I say, we got 7, they got 324, and therefore let's give up? No. I say they didn't get 69% of the vote in 2014, and they didn't get approximately 60% of the vote in UP in 2017. So if we can bring together this fractionated vote, as we did in Bihar, then maybe there can be a credible challenge mounted to a man who's been winning a majority of seats but never succeeded in getting anywhere near a majority of the votes.
And therefore you go on to suggest in your piece that opposition disunity was the fundamental cause of the victory, and it is therefore imperative for the opposition to come together and form a kind of rainbow coalition ahead of 2019.
It's exactly what Sonia Gandhi did in 2014. We only got 140 seats then, and yet we formed the government. We formed the government because she put together a rainbow coalition, which lasted into 2009 and then withered away in 2014, which is why we did so badly. So what we need to do is to get back onto the Sonia path, which is the path of saying that we replace the lead role, the sole role of an inclusive party with a larger inclusive coalition, which will then move
But
forward
can I ask you honestly,
and test itself in the electoral
You
waters.
call it the Sonia Gandhi model, but is Rahul Gandhi the man to lead that coalition? Very honestly.
There's nobody else. I mean, there's nobody else in the Congress party. Now, what happens with regard to the coalition is a matter of negotiation within the coalition in the process of setting it up. Rahul has shown that he has no problem with being number 3 in Bihar, with being number 2 in UP. So, and in Tamil Nadu, we've been number 2 or number 10 for the last 50 years. So, we know how to be in a coalition without necessarily leading it. In terms of eventual numbers, I don't know what is going to happen, but I don't think we should be raising the hurdles today. We should be first seeing whether we can get a broader consensus within my party. I think many people within my party would disagree with me, but within my party and then within potential partners, that we ought to be together. And if we first agree on what is the strategic goal, then we can deal with all these very serious tactical problems.
I think it's very important what you're saying, particularly that you're saying that the Congress shouldn't insist then on being the leader of that coalition. It depends on how the numbers pan out. And I'll come to the Rahul Gandhi question later. But let me ask KC Tyagi this question. Tyagi ji, you've just heard what Mr. Manishankar Iyer is saying. Do you believe it is at all possible for so many different regional forces, Nitish Kumar, Mamata Banerjee, the left, the Congress, which is still not quite yet a regional force, but maybe getting there. But, Akhilesh, do you believe it's possible for all of you to get together in 2019? Is that the only way to beat Narendra Modi?
निधि जी, मैं बहुत कम समय लूंगा। 2014 में जब लोकसभा का चुनाव हुआ था तो एनडीए की 172 सीटों पर बढ़त थी आउट ऑफ 243। हम सब लोग हार गए, 33 सीटें मिली लोकसभा की। फिर नीतीश कुमार की पार्टी जेडीयू, आरजेडी और कांग्रेस पार्टी ने मिलकर के वहां गठबंधन बनाया। 2015 में 172 की 58 सीटें रह गई एनडीए की और हमारी चलेगी 3/4 मेजोरिटी। अब आ जाइए उत्तर प्रदेश में। उत्तर प्रदेश में बीजेपी 2014 में 328 सीटों में बढ़त थी और इस समय 312 सीटों में बढ़त है। अगर कांग्रेस, बीजेपी, एसपी और आरएलडी को मैं जोड़ लेता हूं तो सिर्फ 96 सीटों में बढ़त है बीजेपी की और 301 सीटों में बढ़त है गठबंधन की। इसलिए बिहार मॉडल इज द ओनली मॉडल इन द कंट्री अगर इसको बीजेपी को चेक करना है। और कांग्रेस पार्टी की बिल्कुल मैं अपने सीनियर कुलीग मणिशंकर अय्यर से एग्री करता हूं, इसके अलावा बीजेपी को चेक करने का कोई रास्ता नहीं है। उत्तर प्रदेश और बिहार में 106 सीटों पर बीजेपी की बढ़त है, 33 बिहार और 73 यहां पर। अगर इन सीटों को लोकसभा में ट्रांसफॉर्म में करता हूं तो 30 सीट भी बीजेपी के हिस्से में 106 में से नहीं आती हैं। अगर हम इन दोनों राज्यों में बीजेपी को रोकने में कामयाब हो जाते हैं तो बीजेपी अपने मैजिक नंबर को पार नहीं कर सके। इसलिए अपोजिशन यूनिटी के अलावा कोई रास्ता नहीं है, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, मैं उन लोगों में से नहीं हूं जो ईवीएम की गलती मानते हो। ईवीएम में टेम्परिंग नहीं हुई है, टेम्परिंग हुई है अपोजिशन यूनिटी में। और अगर ईवीएम में टेम्परिंग मान करके आप नतीजे पर पहुंचोगे तो किसी नतीजे पर नहीं पहुंचोगे।
लेकिन त्यागी
फिर
जी,
तो
आप
आप
मुझे
कहोगे अगला चुनाव भी ऐसी होगा।
अगर हम उत्तर प्रदेश की बात करें 1 मिनट के लिए, और अगर वहां पे महागठबंधन नहीं हो पाया क्योंकि वहां पे आपके पास समाजवादी पार्टी है और बसपा है, और क्या आपको लगता है लोकसभा चुनाव के आने के टाइम वो आ सकते हैं? पहले आ चुके हैं, इट डिडंट वर्क आउट वेरी वेल, बट क्या वो आ सकते हैं? कैन दे कम टुगेदर? इट्स नॉट दैट इजी, इज इट?
हमारे पत्रकार मित्र शेखर गुप्ता बिहार चुनाव में हमको मिले थे, ये गए थे वहां पर। जिस दिन लोकसभा में हम चुनाव हारे हैं, जेडीयू की 2 सीटें थी और 4 सीटें थी आरजेडी की। नीतीश कुमार जी ने फोन उठाया, लालू जी को फोन किया कि अकेले अकेले हम नहीं जीत सकते हैं, चुनाव हारते रहेंगे। फिर उसके बाद हम लोगों ने गठबंधन बनाया और 3/4 से हम जीते। इसलिए जो सोशल फोर्सेस हैं, जो इन नेताओं के कार्यकर्ता हैं, वो कंपेल करेंगे कि इकट्ठे हो जाओ। जैसे हमें और आरजेडी के पिछले 15 साल से हमारी तो सोशल रिलेशनशिप भी नहीं थी, हमारे इतने खराब रिश्ते थे, लेकिन बीजेपी की बढ़त को रोकने के लिए, डेमोक्रेसी सरवाइव करती रहे देश के अंदर उसके लिए, और सोशल डेमोक्रेटिक फोर्सेस जो परिवर्तन की चाह रखने वाली सोशल फोर्सेस हैं बिहार में, जिसको लालू जी भी रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं और नीतीश कुमार जी भी करते हैं। उत्तर प्रदेश में हार का एक बड़ा कारण ये भी है कि सोसाइटी की जो मार्जिनलाइज सेक्शंस हैं उनके बड़े हिस्से को भी गठबंधन जो है ना रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा था और ना उसको एड्रेस कर रहा था, जबकि भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने बिहार से सबक लिया।
It's very important what you're saying. I just want to ask Sugata Roy before I come to the BJP and to Shekhar on this question. That Sugata Roy, where would Mamata Banerjee then stand in all of this? Is Mamata Banerjee willing to, forsake all old, enmities, rivalries, and forge this kind of opposition unity? And do you believe, like the JDU and the Congress seem to do, that opposition unity is the only way to take on Mr. Modi?
See, our party has not met after the Uttar Pradesh results were out. But before the Uttar Pradesh elections and after demonetization took place, Mamata Banerjee said clearly that she was for replacing Narendra Modi, and for that she was ready to go with all non-BJP forces. She came to Delhi, and if you remember, she held a joint press conference with Rahul Gandhi. As far as UP was concerned, she said that we won't put up any candidates. My moral support is for the SP Congress combined. I do not think that that position has changed. If a non-BJP coalition can be worked out, Mamata Banerjee and Trinamool Congress will be game. That's what I presume for her from her previous utterances. Since then I have not met her, but I have had the communication, and Mamata Banerjee has already given a statement to the effect that in elections victories and defeat do take place. We political parties carry on nevertheless. Ours is not to give up in defeat of whatever. People should show
like
defiance.
You said, and you're right, she would
We are not directly, just I'll finish.
Sure.
We are not directly involved in the elections in UP, but this remains the overall position, the whole position of the
So let me ask
and I think
Sudhanshu Trivedi this question then. Sudhanshu Trivedi, you're listening now to Mr. Manishankar Iyer, to Mr. K.C. Tyagi, Mr. Sugata Roy, three different political parties, and they all agree on one thing, at least on this program, that the opposition needs to come together to defeat the BJP in 2019. But does that sound very utopian to you?
What Tyagi was saying, he was giving a very appropriate and substantive arithmetics. But I think he was not trying to understand, or he was deliberately trying to avoid what the chemistry is. He has given the example of Bihar. Yes, it's okay. Lalu and Nitish came together and they managed to defeat BJP there. But what happened? Forget about the weeks. Even just after few days of Sushashan Babu taking the power, something of the same sort started, which you can say revived the remembrance of so-called Jungle Raj. And to the best of my knowledge, the chemistry from top to bottom level is not that much good as it was perceived to be. Now come to Uttar Pradesh. The chemistry is more different, because if you look at the three parties, we do not believe in caste bracket and the communal brackets. That's why we are delivering to the downtrodden and deprived the real power, which they are aspiring and they are acknowledging. If we go by the caste bracket, the Dalits in Uttar Pradesh these days are not having rivalry with the upper caste. Gone are those days. They are having more rivalry with the most of the castes which fall in OBC. You have already seen in Uttar Pradesh at one point of time the Dalit Brahman alliance. So it means the chemistry which you are talking, I am having serious doubts. On the other hand, the things which we are providing is definitely going to have a paradigm shift, and these type of caste bracket calculation and the communal bracket calculation and going overboard on the communal politics is definitely not going to fetch the dividend for the opposition.
But Mr. Trivedi, with due respect, you can't say that the BJP didn't take caste calculations into account while trying to win Uttar Pradesh. Of course you did. And that was a very important factor in your victory and in your campaign.
Okay. If you look at Uttar Pradesh, most of the political parties were having either one or two caste. One was trying to have an MY combination, other was trying to have a DM combination. It was only BJP which was trying to have a bouquet of all the castes, whether from OBCs, whether from Dalits or whether from forwards. So in my opinion, that thing is gradually started pervading, and if you get 42% vote, it's not possible by one or two castes. Yes, it can possible by 20% vote can be possible by one or two castes. 24% can possible by one or two castes, but 42% vote cannot be. So we are confident that we will perceive and we will proceed further, and more caste will come towards our side.
Okay, let me take what you're saying to Shekhar.
Towards the downtrodden and deprived.
Is that really the BJP strategy now, Shekhar Gupta, when you look at UP, where you didn't have a single Muslim that was fielded by the party, and therefore that the BJP is hoping to have this sort of Hindu consolidation around it across castes? Is that what it is? Is it the aspirational politics that Mr. Modi strives to certainly talk about in his campaign? What is it that's working for them?
First of all, this is the oldest question for the BJP and RSS, or Jansangh before that, that if 80% of India is Hindu, then how come they don't automatically win elections? They don't, because they believe, and they are right, that caste has divided Hindu society among many sets of identity. And some people get some caste, some people get some castes. So they have tried for about 3 decades now to use religion to reunite what caste divided. Mr. Advani tried this successfully in 1992 after Babri Masjid, and so BJP came to power in UP and ultimately came to power in India as well. But that check got cashed once. Now, temple is a tangible thing. After a while, people say, all right, the masjid is gone, find me a temple. First of all, it's tough to build one because you run into other issues now. And second, building a temple doesn't have the same oomph as destroying a mosque. So that story is over. What Mr. Modi has now done is Modi-SHAH combined, and they've done it quite masterfully. They once again used religious identity to reunite what caste divided, but they have packaged that not with as religion but as nationalism, as their own sense of nationalism, by completely repackaging Congress party's old povertarianism. Look at a scheme like LPG. When we traveled in UP, the scheme that's really worked is LPG. 55 lakh families in UP, they actually have it. When you walk, and it's been done in a way that the poorest have it, the Dalits have it. It's there, it's a reality. This was Congress party's scheme. It was in the 2013 budget of Congress party. NAC put pressure and this scheme was stopped. In fact, Rajasthan government was asked in the by the finance minister then to implement this in 2 districts on a pilot basis. Even that was stopped. So what Mr. Modi has done is, what BJP now has is, it has a great communicator and a greatly popular leader personally, as Mrs. Gandhi was in the past. He's got a good quote-unquote pro-poor agenda.
If the entire opposition came together to take him on, would it work?
Well, this has happened. We've seen this film before. The entire opposition came together in 71. Mrs. Gandhi just walked all over them. She just demolished them and she won a landslide. And what did she say? Wo kehte hain Indra hatao, Indra ji kehte hain garibi hatao. So this will not work. First of all of them have to come together with something new. They cannot just say, and something positive, they cannot just say Modi hatao, because people don't feel so compelled to hatao Modi. Second, the failure of the earlier Grand Alliance, those days it was called Grand Alliance, not Mahagathbandhan. The main reason for failure was there wasn't a leader. They could not agree on a leader. And while once they were voted in power in 77, people know that they did not stay together. They took too long finding a prime minister. They did not let him function.
So let me take both.
So Mrs. Gandhi called it a khichdi. Within 2.5 years, she was back in power. So if a Mahagathbandhan comes up, one, they have to bring out a positive message, not to get rid of Modi.
And to get a leader.
And second, to get a leader like they had in Bihar. Nitish was the leader.